What is up, guys? It is the JT report here, back with my 2019 through 2020 NBA season preview, and today I'm here with my 28th ranked team, the Phoenix Suns. Unfortunately, Suns fans, your team is still near the bottom of my ranking. I don't think they've ever been higher than below the 25th spot ever in any of the years that I've done this. Outside of the first year, because I did not complete that one. We're not going to talk about that. But so, unfortunately for the Suns, they're just kind of stuck in NBA limbo. You would think, seeing how they've built themselves, they have good enough young players to compete or do something. But the problem is they misutilize the members of their team that they have, and it's a real problem. I really don't know who's going to fix it or how they're going to fix it, but it's going to have to be something that they address sooner rather than later, or they're going to be stuck in this maelstrom of constantly picking in the lottery and being unable to really make any progress with this team. So first, looking at what the Phoenix Suns did in the offseason, one of the most surprising things that they did was probably having one of the worst drafts in the entire NBA. So looking at what they did in the draft, first of all, they started by trading away TJ Warren to the Indiana Pacers for some second-round picks. TJ Warren was one of their best upcoming players. He was a good scorer. They did it so they wouldn't have to pay him, which would be a decent thing if you were going to get a quality small forward out of it, but they ended up drafting Cameron Johnson, who was projected to go anywhere from the second round to maybe one of the last couple picks in the first rounds, and they took him within the lottery. So that's a very big stretch for a player who nobody really thought was going to be that good or will be that good. Now, of course, maybe the Suns saw something in him that we don't, but again, he's not going to be the replacement for TJ Warren as of yet. They also drafted Ty Jerome, who it'll be interesting to see how Ty Jerome fits in the NBA. He was a good player in college, but outside of that, there's not much that we know how his game will translate to the next level. They also traded for Dario Saric, which admittedly he was one of the big pieces in the Jimmy Butler trade that happened. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And looking what else they did, they traded for Aaron Baines, who I actually have always been a fan of Aaron Baines. He's a very good physical guy to come off the bench. He'll be good for them off the bench. And then they signed Ricky Rubio and Frank Kaminsky. They overpaid for Rubio. Now, they were unable to get one of these star guards in the draft, Darius Garland, Kobe White. They missed out on both those guys, so instead they opted to sign Ricky Rubio, which actually I think will be probably a good fit for them because he's going to be a guy that's going to look to distribute the ball more than score. And when you have people like Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton on the floor, that's going to be a very, very solid piece for them. They also signed Frank Kaminsky, who was kind of just thrown away by the Hornets. I don't really know if this makes him any better. He's another guy to come off the bench, and he's fairly young, so it'll be interesting to see, what they do with that. Look at who else they lost, though. They traded Josh Jackson, who was a problem player for them. He hadn't really shown any improvement, so now we're going to see what he ends up doing in Memphis. They also traded away DeAnthony Milton. I'm not going to lie, did not follow DeAnthony Milton's career much, so I'm not sure if he even got much playing time last year. They also received Kyle Korver in that trade, but they ended up waiving him, and they also got Javon Carter, who I did not mention beforehand. So overall, a lackluster offseason with probably arguably one of the worst draft classes in the NBA. And by draft class, I mean who the Phoenix Suns ended up drafting. So looking at the Phoenix Suns' potential starting lineup, right now we have Ricky Rubio at the guard with Devin Booker playing the shooting guard. I think they're going to start Mikal Bridges to start off at the small forward just because I feel like right now he has shown more promise than Cameron Johnson, with Dario Saric taking over that forward position and DeAndre Ayton at center. And off the bench, they have a few notable players. As we mentioned, Cameron Johnson, Eli Okubo. I think they'll start giving more of their young players time, so Eli will most likely get some time. Dragon Bender, Aaron Baines, and Ty Jerome. So again, they have a fairly deep bench by optics perspective, which means if you just looked on a sheet of paper, you'd say, okay, yeah, these guys are fairly good. You can probably also add Frank Kaminsky to that list. I'm not sure if you would, though. The Hornets did not really play him when they had him, so I don't know how much more time Phoenix would be willing to give him. But potentially Frank Kaminsky, probably in substitute for Dragon Bender. But yeah, so essentially the Phoenix Suns, again, looking at that lineup, I mean, it's not bad on paper. The only problem is, are they going to really fit players with, the right lineups and the right schemes? Because, I mean, DeAndre Ayton, they had him going out near the three-point line and shooting jump shots, or he should be a back-to-the-basket type player. And maybe Ricky Rubio will fix some of that with his, excellent ball distribution skills. But it remains to be seen, and we really don't know, what's going to come of, this Phoenix Suns lineup. Anyways, guys, this has been the JT NBA Report with my 2019 through 2020 NBA season preview, and I will see you guys back for my 27th ranked team. Bye-bye.